she goes. And she's grateful to be on palliative care because they're taking the fluid out of her lungs. And she said, they told me to just dump that down the toilet. And I'm like, I'm not doing that, because this is not good stuff. And I'm not going to poison the water system with my stuff in my lungs. So it's like right up to the end, you're caring about everybody. Very thoughtful.
What do you do? What do you do with that fluid?
Hazmat? I mean, I don't know.
The hospital.
Oh, is this medication is that what? Or is it?
No, it's the fluid from her lungs that builds up because
Okay.
she has lung cancer. So, yeah.
She's
Wow.
trying to manage people visiting and is grateful for those that she chooses to visit with, I think. And then she opens up her garden, as I think both Doreen and Lisa know, from 5 to 6. And I was there, and there were these young children that showed up with their mother, and she couldn't be more thrilled as they held a string bean and ate it. And, that's the joy.
Right.
So, for me to be maudlin about, oh my God, you're dying, it's like there was no room for that.
No.
I had to do that on my own. And that is to do on my own, right? For us to do on our own. But, yeah.
You've known her a long time.
I've known her as long as I've lived here. So for those that don't know, this is Dorothy Mullen, who organized the Steppers program. She's a visionary and came up with this idea, not so dissimilar from Joshua, which is food is medicine. And let's get back to the earth and get back to the gardens, and let's get back to the kitchen and let's cook. And she created this program that went all around Princeton and Pennsylvania. And Vicki and I held classes here at New Hope on various topics. And one thing that always amazes me about Dor, and the same thing I feel about Kathy Schneider and Joshua, they only see positive.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that, Lisa and Doreen and Vicki.
Well, they see, they have the hurdles and they deal with them, but they turn it into a positive. They don't let those hurdles stop them.
Right.
So in case anyone doesn't know, we have two Marilena Minucci's here tonight.
Oh, my name is Marilyn.
Oh, wow.
Who's the real Marilyn?
Bella Marilena Minucci.
It must be my computer because I actually went in exactly the way Vicki said. I didn't go in the way I usually go when I teach for Marilena's class, but I still came up as Marilena. So I just can't help it. I want to be Marilena.
Change your profile somehow.
Probably when I get my own Zoom account someday.
To leave early, you can pinch it for how I look as a blonde. Okay, that's good.
How many of us are scheduled to be here?
Well, a lot of people couldn't for various reasons from the beginning, and then things have happened today for people and they can't make it. So this could be it. I don't know. Just a lovely group.
Is indeed.
I don't know how you want to do this. If people just want to talk when they're moved to talk, or say where they've been or what they've done since the last, since we were all together.
I could start.
Okay.
This past year has been one of educating myself about the end of life. I've lost two friends, and about a week ago, my brother ended up in ICU, and he is a fourth stage alcoholic, and we're not sure whether there's anything else to do with that. But he's at a crossroads of whether he's going to live or die. And right now he's on Ativan and other stuff to stop the symptoms, detox. But it's pretty much wiped out any possibility of communicating with him. So that's been going on for about a week. And he didn't want me to know anything about what was going on. So I'm staying up here and, doing what I can. and actually doing pretty well. I'm clear I'm not. I have no control over the situation whatsoever. So we'll see what happens.
And any emotions coming up for you, Jackie?
Um, well, I think I told you, Lisa, that my cousin, who's just salt of the earth, called me, and I gave him an update, and he said, well, he said, really, I didn't call to ask about John. You know, he's on his own path. And I called to ask about you. How are you? At which point I burst into tears and said, well, I was doing just fine before you asked.
Oh.
So, you know, there's stuff going on underneath, but it's not interfering with my ability to do what I want to do during the day and so on. So I'm actually, if I were in his shoes, I'd be ready to call it a life.
That's a
No,
good expression. Call it a life.
because it's you know, he's been drinking since he was 14 years old, and he has the kind of, you know, so many alcoholics have these astonishing constitutions. They seem to be able to get away with practically anything. But this one is an uncomfortable crossroads because he's got 6 broken ribs.
Oh.
And so his recovery is going to, I'm sure, is going to stick in his memory. So we'll see. He may decide to live. I don't know.
Is he an older brother or a younger brother?
I'm the eldest. I'm the big sister. So
Getting back to my question, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really pretty good. The one thing I keep getting all these messages to, you know, from things happening around me that I really need to finish all my own paperwork. And
That.
so, and I know, because I've been on both sides of it, when, you know, when there's paperwork and when there's not, it's just a terrible drag.
Mhm.
So anyway, so I have more incentive. I'll throw a party when I've got it done.
I'll come.
There's a thought.
Maybe we can light a bonfire.
Jackie, what has to be done yet?
Well, I've gone over the will, and part of it, the biggest part is I really need to sit down and decide what to do with what I have, you know, with my estate. And it's not that it's huge, but it you know, it's big enough to make a difference to somebody. So that's really and decisions are not my long suit. I'm not one of those people who just knows immediately what I want.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm anyway, and so then I have a trust which I set up, which was set up so that anything that I might want to make decisions about would be under the trust rather than in a will that might have to be probated and all of that kind of. So it's so the basic structure is really already up. It's just a matter of updating. And since most of the people I mentioned have either moved away or died themselves or something, so it's the downside of a long life.
It is. It's the recycling of the assigned, whatever they are,
Yeah, right.
health.
Designees and
Designees.
yeah, all of that.
Listen, do you want an accountability buddy on that? Because I need to do that too, and I've been pushing it off.
I wouldn't mind. That would be cool, actually. That would make it fun.
Okay, good. I'll do that because I need to do that. I've been-
Hey y'all, I'm here. I just want to jump in and say I'm the only child of an only child, and this is very relevant for me. So whatever you talk about and decide, if you could let me know, I would definitely benefit from learning from your experience.
I am very happy to do that.
Thank you.
And the other thing that I'm putting into it, I haven't done this and I'm not sure just exactly how to do it, is to put the Exit International information in it, which is all about like what do they call it? Voluntary. Anyway, it's offing yourself.
It's what?
If you are ill or in pain or abandoned or whatever it is that makes you not want to live any longer than this date or whatever it is,
Oh, yeah.
there are ways to do that that are that don't put anybody else in jeopardy, and that are reliable and euphoric and proven. So
That's legal in New York, really?
it is legal to commit suicide. It is not legal to help anybody commit suicide.
Okay.
And that's the rub, because often the reason you commit suicide is because you can't really live the life you want to live, including you don't have what you need in order to end your life.
Yeah.
So anyway, Exit International
Oh,
does research and publishes on that subject, and they're terrific. They've got, it's exitinternational.org.
Oh,
So it's your end of life wishes.
Yes.
So we just went through this because my mother-in-law's sister had a degenerative ailment, as ALS. And she lived in England, and her daughter was in Switzerland, and her son was in England. So she chose to go, I can't remember, Sweden or Switzerland, somewhere where you're
Switzerland.
allowed to go into
Switzerland.
hospice.
Yeah, Switzerland.
Yeah, and there is a place there called Dignitas.
Mhm.
Of course, dignity.
Yeah, where you can arrange to end your life. And
Yeah, they're
and
going
it
back.
doesn't have to be approved by a doctor. The whole idea that you have to be sick, and ready for hospice in order to have this option is ridiculous.
So you just have to have enough money to get over there
Exactly.
to do that. So
Yeah. Or you learn about the Exit International stuff, because that, it would cost you less than $100
okay.
for the right
It
nurse.
costs less to die than to live.
Pardon?
Costs less to die than it does to live.
Much less.
Yes.
Right.
So Jackie, one thing that comes up for me, and for maybe others can share in this, we're talking about something that's so delicate and precious. And it's like, as you enter the dating world in your 60s or 70s, and all of a sudden you're calling a potential partner boyfriend, which is just like so inappropriate.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's another terminology for suicide versus end of life choice. And maybe that's part of the dialogue in the Exit International.
Transitioning.
They have a number of terms, and right at this moment, of course, the minute I want them, they disappear from my mind.
Mhm.
But they will come back before the end of this call, I would
I know
guess.
that. I trust that. Okay. All right.
Right.
I also think of the
Voluntary euthanasia. That's one of them. And what they do, they publish a book called The Pink Pill. I think that's right. Because that was, when they first started, that was something that vets use to put down animals, I believe. And that was the drug of choice. The problem being that the Judeo-Christian mafia has moved to make that illegal. Illegal to bring it in, illegal, the whole thing. So they don't call it that, by the way. That's my own, my own rather grumpy designation. So, but anyway, the pink pill, or maybe it's the pink pill. Anyway, it is published both in print and online, And every let's see, they republish it every 6 months. No, I'm sorry, 6 times a year. They update the sections on the law and on the technology. And they charge $85 for a 2-year subscription. What happened? I lost you, Irma.
What?
She's there.
Oh, okay.
I said, this is great. This is so helpful because I noticed that I'm stuck in a certain aspect of this unwinding. I mean, as some of you have already heard, my son said to me, "Mom, I have no problem pulling the plug." Now, that to me was like, you're not understanding the delicacy of this. It's like, no. I would just grant your wishes, whatever your wishes are. But it's like, I got some goddesses here. I think I'd rather go to. So anyway, it would be helpful to be in this conversation with you and Vicki, and of course.
But you also have to make sure that, when it's good to do the planning ahead of time, because sometimes you may reach that point where you want it to end and you physically can't do it.
Right. I'm going to have a kit in the basement. And I haven't done it yet because things keep happening, but I intend to have it and have it set up so that within a very short time I could carry that out if I so chose.
It's remembering where the kid is.
Yes.
I thought I put it downstairs. Wait.
Right.
Oh, God.
Breadcrumbs to the kid. Breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating that we can laugh about this and bring some humor to it. I really am.
Yeah. They also give seminars
Mhm.
all over the world so that people can discuss it, learn about it, decide, and there's no pressure one way or the other. They also have a prototype of something called a sarco, which is short for sarcophagus. And it is a contraption that looks a little bit like a flying saucer almost. It's actually quite pretty. And it's a pod that's on a base, and you get in the pod, and all of the controls for implementing it are inside and available to the person who has decided to end their life. And it's a friend of mine said, they're not ready yet, but it's beautiful. I wouldn't mind going, in something like that. But that they intend to start producing those, and also publishing plans. So if people want to make their own, that's it.
I feel compelled as one of the younger members of the current group of goddesses to say that none of you are allowed to die, because I need you, and I need you to always be like so many steps ahead of me and providing me with the guidance and the wisdom that you have provided. So you need to first consult with me about your plans. This is not okay with me.
So we can do a download before we go.
I was going to say, we'll still be with you. Souls travel together. You'll just have to listen a little more closely to hear any of us.
Oh my goodness.
This is great.
I have to start recruiting some 20-year-old goddesses so that I have those that follow me.
And you can teach them.
Yeah.
Part of a bigger conversation. It's an important conversation for all of us to have. And Erin, I understand where you're going with this. It's hard.
I do have to say that I still to this day have a 100% crystal clear memory of being in the hospital and my mom walking me into the room where my grandmother was connected to all the tubes. And she said to me, I have to make a choice about whether I let your grandmother continue or not. And she said to me, I don't know what to do, because she said, my mom, my grandmother didn't tell me what to do in the situation. And she had had a stroke
Mm.
And, she had no brain function. Her body was still breathing with the aspirator. And it's like, I was 12, and I have this vivid memory now of the burden of that decision. And I'm also the only child for both my parents. So, like, this is on my mind.
Have you had the discussion with them about what they would like?
I have had it at a more, I would say, like, surface level, and I know more. Honestly, I know more about their wishes about how they're buried than
Mhm.
those decisions. Literally, like, my dad, every time we visit in Iowa, which just happened, in July, we were there for 3 weeks. It's like, here are where all the passwords are, and here are the account balances. Like, they're more likely to tell me those details than, like, what are your wishes? Because I can see the physical and mental decline, and I don't want anything to happen, but it's going to happen at some point.
There's a book called Grave Expectations. That's a kind of a conversational guide. I
Okay.
actually haven't read the book, but I love the title. And a friend of mine used it, and it's her copy is covered with red marks and underlines and stuff like that. And I think it's not the only one out there, but it's such a mess when you don't have those conversations.
Mhm.
A healthcare proxy is such an important piece of paper. When my sister's husband was dying, she was just so depleted, and she had that in her hands, and it was so well written, because it's like, just a form, for the lawyers, but it had every kind of scenario. I want this, but not this. I want this, but not this. It was very specific. And she was so tired. And here was, the person she loved most in the world dying. And of course, she wanted to do everything she could to save him. But we were past that point. And she said that was so helpful. I saw her take it out and go through it. We went through it together. So then she could just make a decision about and not feel the burden of it afterwards.
Do you still have a copy of that?
I don't have it. It was my sister's husband's healthcare proxy.
Because it's really useful to have a model document.
I wonder if it isn't. I can ask her if she has it somewhere. It might be a little tender, but otherwise maybe it's even Googleable, because it was just standard that her attorney gave her that, like, with all the papers. I think they did it even with my parents somewhere. I might have that. I might have gotten rid of it at some point, but I think it's fairly standard, like, checklist model. You know what I mean?
They are pretty standard, but you could always add other things. Yeah, so.
Of course. I want vitamins, only Metagenics. Oil, only Young Living.
Get it from Emerson, right.
I want diffused oil. I'm not in terms. But I think about that, and I think, who in my family, which there's just really my sister at this point, who else is really going to be able to make this kind of decisions for me? So who knows? You may get a phone call from me, or we'll have a goddess group consensus to pull the plug, But
No, I think we should all have an addendum that's like the goddess is in order, right? Like, after the others are not available,
Right.
like, then we go through the goddess list.
Right.
It's not a bad idea, actually, because one of the things that's been, it's been really hard to lose all the people who've known me for 30 or 40 years.
Mm.
I have one left, and she's not usually around. So, of those who've known me a very long time.
Yeah.
So,
which begs the question of, I hope I can articulate this, because I wonder about the expansion and contraction of time and getting to know somebody. We know each other so well, and yet for such a short period of time, that I just wonder about the value of longevity versus the intimacy.
versus what?
Intimacy. The intimacy of knowing versus the longevity of knowing. Because oftentimes the longevity of knowing is clouded with,
Yeah.
oh, I remember when you went to school. I remember your first boyfriend. And all those things are important from a measure, but they're not necessarily what's needed at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The intimacy of the desire.
Mm.
We're watching our friend who was going through a process of being diagnosed with ALS, and watching him dealing with the reality of that, and just walking into that various phases of really embracing what it hasn't been confirmed yet, and it may not ever be confirmed, right, Vicki?
I think they will just out of default.
Default,
When everything else has been ruled out, they will say he has ALS. But few things left to do.
Yeah. So watching him, so he's in that place of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me, and I'm a dancer and I can't dance, and Mella, that image of me and David dancing.
Is it David? Is it
That's
that friend that's on Facebook?
Yeah.
It's David.
Oh my God, that was an amazing post. I loved it so much.
And he's wearing a brace to keep
Wearing
his
a brace so he could
Yeah.
support himself. People thought it was like me grinding with this guy, and which of course I didn't lend any understanding to what was going on, but this was a confirmation of what he is right now, what he can still do. And he reached down, he held himself up and supported himself. But the point is that, as we go through these moments and have been delivered a piece of data that we never wanted to hear, or a piece of information, how do we function? Is it the longevity of friends that have been in our life forever, or is the intimacy of the goddesses? I remember being on the call, and Marilena said she only wanted Young Living Animals, and Jackie says that she wants to go to Sweden and take the pink pill or whatever, right? I mean, this is important stuff that we're talking about.
Mhm.
I would like to say that it would be an absolute honor for me to be a guide, a partner, whatever it is you would say, to any of you for whatever stage of life transition that you would like me to be a part of. It would be an absolute honor.
I have to echo that. I think we as a group, I mean, not all of us maybe would be prepared to do that. I would, but I agree with you, Irma. I mean, in terms of intimacy and knowing each other in a way that, not many people know me, that my essence to a great degree. And when I think about this world and sort of what's happening, and reading about what's happening around the globe to people, not just women. I mean, I was just reading about Turkey today and what's going on there. It was in the New York Times. It feels like things are imploding a little bit. And I was so glad, Jackie, that you brought this up, because, I like to know there's a choice out there.
Yeah.
And that there may come a point where, it's just time. I deem that it's my
Yeah.
time.
There have been a number of stories that I've read about this. One woman just said, I'm going when I turn 80. And it was, well, what if you're still having a good time? Why would you do that? She said, I think 80 is quite enough. Like, okay, for whatever reason.
And I had a client of mine that said that at 75, she and her husband, 75, that's it.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not, that doesn't, I remember reading, because Alzheimer's is such a, hard, makes endings so hard, that one family, they actually moved to Oregon so that they had that option. And what they agreed on was that they would activate that choice when she no longer laughed.
Aww.
I just thought that was so amazing.
Very poignant.
And that's what happened. The son said, "Mom, I haven't heard you laugh in weeks and weeks.
Oh,
Is it time?" And she did.
there's certain questions. I think I moved it because we cleaned up here for cooking class today. But I had listed on our board 5 questions you ask somebody, and
For
for end of life. So let's say you have a debilitating disease, but what you care about is that you can eat ice cream or you could do something else. And a daughter had to make a decision for her father whether to have really dangerous surgery. And she said she never knew those things about him. And she said, well, she asked the doctor, will he be able to do that? And he said, yes. She said, okay, do the surgery. And then he lived 10 years.
Oh.
It's important to really know what the person, what they consider quality of life.
right. Where was it? Because I read that somewhere.
Atul Gawande.
Yeah, it's
Immortal. He talks about that.
a wonderful book.
Yeah.
Say the name of that, please.
Being Mortal
Immortal.
by a doctor, Atul Gawande.
Thank you.
Gawande.
Yeah, so it's in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. That's a great reminder.
Because if somebody said, or if I said, if I'm not laughing, then that's my exit strategy. It might be nobody said anything funny.
Right.
Everyone's too serious. Dora had said to me, Dora Mullen, she said that she had a friend of hers that said, I am so jealous of you because you get to leave
Yeah.
at a time when this world is so distraught.
I said the same thing to her.
Wow. So maybe we should, yeah.
Well, just because you've mentioned Dora's name again, August 13th, she's doing a presentation at the library about the end of life.
What?
Wow.
Ooh.
Yep.
Which library?
Princeton.
In Princeton. I was supposed to meet her tomorrow for a lunch and I can't do it. So I notified her and she said, oh, we chat a little bit through email. And then she mentioned, she said, so now I'm preparing for that event at the library, which really gives me energy, which is what I need right now.
Good.
So like Irma said, she's just always looking for how to serve and contribute. And so she can't do suppers the way she used to. So now she's giving, well, it feels like she's giving all she has left to helping people have a better end of life.
That actually sounds like she's accessing additional energy that she wouldn't have had if she didn't have this to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
All right. If anyone goes to that, let me know. I don't think I can make it down for that. But what's the date? The 12th?
August 13th.
The 13th. Okay.
I have to look myself, but I just read it before I got on the call.
I'm just checking.
13th.
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I'll be in Maine.
Well,
Lucky you. So I just have to tell you all that the Sharp Again fundraiser went very well. We had a lot of success.
Great.
And I want to thank everyone for your kind words and your support. And we had like, I don't know, like 60% more people there than last year. And we made almost 3 times as much.
Excellent.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it felt good. I was, pretty stressed out, but it went really well.
wow. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
And you've got another thing too pending, right?
What?
The additional 10.
The additional, I
You
don't know.
said there was a possibility of a grant?
Oh,
Or,
another $10,000. Oh, that would be from an individual donor. I mean, it was pledged. I don't, until I see it,
oh, it actually was pledged.
oh yeah. Someone was told that we were going to get a check. So we'll see. But that would be great.
Wow.
Then we could really get someone in to do the administrative work and relieve me of that, which I desperately need. So
How do we recycle this money? Oh my gosh, so many people making so much money.
By the way, Irma, you look great with that red behind you.
yes, you do. I was going to also say that. I love whatever that is behind
Yeah,
you.
tell us about that painting, Irma.
Tell us about this painting, Vic.
So that used to be my office, and I decided to make this. I wanted a red wall, and I just freeformed black swirls through it, and
Wow.
it stayed all this time. I still love it, and I think Irma likes it. So
You want the office back?
no, I'm sorry. No.
I didn't hear her say that, Irma.
I didn't say that.
I just asked.
I just said it used to be my office.
It looks like some famous, really expensive painting.
It is. My maiden name was Rodin, so there we go.
Here I was imagining like Irma on Wall Street. She bought this like painting of an up and coming artist, and now it's like a New Hope on her wall.
Vicki, I think you have to come to each of our homes and give us a backdrop too.
Right.
Okay, that could be a new career move.
There you go.
How are you, Mela?
I'm good. I love summer. I feel like wasn't it Kimberly that chased summer that one year?
Yes.
Did she call it
Yeah.
chasing summer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just I'm like eating every day up with a spoon because I mean I keep thinking of how depressed I got the last couple of winters, and I just need to be barefoot and taking sun, which I know is really bad for me. That's probably how I'm gonna get in trouble at one point, but it's been amazing. I had the opportunity last night. I have Bard College near here, and they have like amazing events, and they get amazing people, and they have something, some of you know this, called the Spiegel Tent, where I go dance during the summer. They have like cabaret shows, which I'm usually not that interested in, but I will bite the bullet, and usually one on Friday nights after I teach, stay out and then go dancing, is the DJ comes on at 10:30. And I used to do it every single Friday night. I don't know if it's age or fatigue or I don't know what it is, but now I usually make it there 3 or 4 times a season. So I did go last week to that. But last night, John Cameron Mitchell was performing stories from Hedwig, you know, the story Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And I had seen it off Broadway 20 years ago with a good friend of mine, my friend Ken. And when I saw that he was at Spiegel Tent, he's like, we have to go do this. And then, of course, I was looking at the ticket prices, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. And all they had left anyway were standing room only. So we did it. And this is a big lesson about saying yes versus no, which is something that I'm really working with this summer. And we went. And the day was, I mean, I've been insane since Friday. I taught at 5:15 on Friday. I subbed for another teacher. I did all kinds of stuff physically on Friday up until teaching Friday night. And then I was in the city dancing with my dance troupe all day yesterday. So I got home and then went out, which
Wow.
is nearly unheard of. So I think I'm talking to you all in my sleep, sincerely, but I'm just continuing the joy. You know, I'm having a friggin' ball, and I'm eating every bit of it up with a spoon when I'm not drinking it up. So it's nice. Thanks for asking. I forgot who asked, but thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Mela, tell us more about your dance troupe.
It is for those that are 50 and older. I'm now the third youngest. Somebody else that didn't make the first performance came in. We range in age from 53 till 80. And which wouldn't surprise any of you because, you know, if you're in good shape and you're finding your joy, you do it. We performed at the Brooklyn Cyclones game July 4th weekend. They're a minor league baseball team affiliated with the Mets, and their stadium is right on Coney Island, like the roller coaster's there, and we're the stadium's here. And it was only 1 minute and 30 seconds, and a lot of energy. I have a lot more respect for professional dancers and Broadway dancers that learn many routines for one show. Now we're preparing again. They've invited us back for 1 or 2 more, and the woman who started the team is negotiating for money. So I was like, wait, I might get paid for this? So that was like beyond, like, who thought about that? This was supposed to be just something that brought out my joy, took the trauma that I'm working on ridding myself out of my body. And now I'm like, money? So she told us not to be too excited for this season, but they also think they might want us at 1 game a month next year. So, and then she's got all kinds of other things up her sleeve. But yesterday I kind of walked through everything, but it was really beautiful because the old me would have beaten myself up and would have been like, what am I even doing here? I don't deserve to be doing here. And instead I just said to everybody, I'm like, I'm exhausted. I can't think of what the steps are. I'll watch the videotape and learn it this week. I will. And I thought that is such a big change for me, because I would have went to, and it meant like not deserving. I can't believe I'm even here. I can't believe I'm messing up. I can't believe I can't remember anything. And I was like, I'm friggin' tired. Thank God we videotape the rehearsals so that you can see what the steps are, and then they send it the music. So I'll be in my kitchen on Tuesday, from Tuesday on, just learning it. So the dance troupe is fantastic. I don't know where else I'll be, but there will be other performances. And I didn't know I liked to perform. That's another part of me that's coming out.
Can I present that question to the group? Would anyone think that Mila didn't know that she liked to perform?
No.
No. I thought you liked to perform.
Well, in front of you all, but not, thousands, crowds of thousands of people. But I guess maybe, I'm enjoying it, and I'm just using, I am working on reading a lot of trauma from my body, and I'm writing about a lot of trauma to release more layers. And the dancing is really helping me. So thanks for asking. And that's what's going on.
I forgot something. And some of you may have heard the phone ring. That was Kathy Wilkie, who was a professional dancer.
Yeah.
And it brought up the question I meant to ask earlier, which was we set this up with this year's group, but I have the sense of our community is really bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And might we want to think about expanding to include folks who couldn't make it this year, or there wasn't room, or whatever. It's just something to acknowledge the size of the group. That's one thing. The other thing that I want to brag about is that I'm off sugar.
Woo!
And I have been off sugar now for about 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Only stepped off the program for one celebratory drink. And I'm down 6 or 7 pounds without any strain at all. And 5 more pounds, I'll be back to my college weight.
Wow.
So I'm just ecstatic.
Jackie, is that no fruit either? No fruit either, or
I eat whole fruit.
whole fruit?
Whole fruit's okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to interfere with the process at all. In fact, it makes it possible.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, doing it in the summer, and this is the most astonishing summer for fruit.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for all the support that I've received from this group over the years. And it all helped. I'm done.
So I would like to ask about Joan. Joan, are you there?
I'm here.
Because we can't see you.
I know. I've tried everything in terms of settings. I don't know why it's not working, but it's not.
And you're on the computer or on your
I'm on
phone?
the computer.
And the lower part that says video on the left
Yeah,
lower?
yeah, done all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, somehow I can't find my camera.
Can you check in for that? What's going on?
You want me to leave?
No. Now I went to my mom's today and to get some papers. It's really hard. I think I'm having a hard time with, I mean, I agree with you. It's an important discussion what Jackie kicked off, and maybe even part of an agenda item that we should have at our next get together to talk about. But I don't know, it's just left me very, I guess I'm prepared to really have that discussion today. So that's it. That's, I'm feeling better, but just as I suspected, as I'm feeling better, for some of you who didn't know, I was really kind of sick for a couple of weeks.
Because why?
I'm sorry?
Because,
Guys, I'm sorry.
because why? Are you sick?
Well, I had a parasite, and then when I finally that was diagnosed, I was on a medicine that then I wound up being ultimately allergic to. So I broke out. I had hives and fever and sweats, and it was pretty unpleasant. So anyway, that's finally all subsided. So as I thought that once I would feel better and could not get beyond just my health issues, I would be able to grieve more, and that's exactly what's happening. And of course going, to my mom was harder this time than a couple of times before when I went. So yeah, I just need to go through it, and I just feel a little removed.
But we're glad you're on the call tonight.
I'm sorry?
Glad you're on the call tonight, Joan. It's good to see your name on the screen and hear your voice.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate a few of you who sent me just really lovely cards and messages and all that. It's very, very nice that you did that.
Joan, this is Erin. I'm not up to date. I don't know what's happened with your mom. So I'm going to reach out to you separately. And
okay.
My heart is out to you, and I love you so much.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, but there are good things. I'm just getting my terrace back after, the building was the terraces were under construction for like a year. So I just was working on that and putting my plants back out there. And Ken and I worked on the furniture to take the rust off and paint. And so that's exciting, because I love to be, as Irma knows, I love to be doing. So that made me happy tonight.
Is that Lily on the call? I didn't put my glasses on, so I am confused.
Lily's on the call.
Lily, I was thinking, who the hell is that sexy blonde? I'm going through the names. Lily, you look really different. You weren't at Goddess Weekend in May. What did you do that's so different from last year to this year? You radiant on my screen. Not that everybody else isn't.
My hair's lighter.
And is it shorter?
No, I just put it up in the back.
Nice.
Can I just ask one thing before we move on to Lily? Joan, are you complete?
Thank you for asking, Erms. Yes, thank you.
The raw situation that you're in, having lost your mom, that you've had all of your
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said the raw situation that you're in, having lost your mom, you've had probably longer than all of us have had their parent in their lives. So I just wanted to make sure you're okay and complete.
Yes, and I'm so thankful.
I'm sorry, Mela. So you were talking about Lily.
Sorry, too.
Yeah.
I just lost Erin.
Erin came up as an icon. Maybe she stepped away from them.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm just I can't put the screen right on me at the moment.
Okay. Because you're having sex with Matt or what? 'Cause we'd
Yeah,
like to see
yeah,
that.
that's exactly it, Irma. How did you
Yeah.
guess?
So Lily, you do look like a movie star.
Oh, please. Thank you. Dear. Okay.
What's going on, Lily?
So this is really hard to listen to. You know, a couple times during this whole discussion, I'm thinking, nah.
Yeah.
Just noticing the kind of anxiety it's bringing up, and but yet I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to be received into your circle of goddesses. I'm honored, really. But the discussion is very, very tough. But I'm sure it is for everybody, not just me. But the other day I pulled up this card, the tarot card number 7. It's the Chariot.
Yeah.
And the affirmation is, I am putting my life in order and preparing for a new beginning.
Joan, can you mute yourself, Joan? Because we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, that was Ken's phone. He's
Yeah. So if you can mute yourself, so we don't hear Ken.
So that seemed completely appropriate. And you know, kind of right on, like I totally related to that card and the image. And you know, he's sitting there in this chariot on a gold path in front of him with a disc in front of him, and you know, with all this protection around him, like preparing to engage for a new beginning. And I thought, this feels so much like what my life feels like now. And then the thought occurred to me, you know, that new beginning could be a real new beginning, you know. So it's just interesting that this discussion tonight, because I guess it was the first time I really started looking at the fact that, you know, mortal being and all of that, because so much of my life has been outside of my body, in a sense, you know, like every once in a while I'll pop in and go, wow, like, how did I get here? How did this happen? This is pretty amazing. Like, where have I been? Oh, but it's been an amazing trip, you know, but I don't think in these like really concrete things, like, you know, the discussion that Jackie is bringing forth. So I'm just noticing right now the kind of anxiety it's bringing up in me. And I'm also noticing the congruence of it to other things that have happened in my life and are happening now. You know, and I don't know, but it's hard for me to think in those terms, because this seems so compelling, you know, this day, this everything just seems so big and rich, and I can't imagine it being any other way. But then that reality comes in and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I've been like that many years on the planet, you know, like how many more years do I have on the planet? And it's a question and answer that none of us, a question all of us have, and an answer that none of us have.
Well, we've all got theories, that's for sure. And I work with somebody who's got a very different theory from most of the religious statements about what happens after we kick the bucket. I'm actually interested. I'm looking. Uh, I'm not looking forward like I can't wait to get out of here. It's not like that at all. But I'm looking forward to discovering what that existence is like. I'm real clear that there is an existence afterwards, but I do hope you're within reach. Those of you who've passed on also when I cross over. So,
What does that mean?
huh? What's that mean? That means I want a welcome committee
So we have to go first?
for whoever's gone first.
That would be
Whoever's
the
going first. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm happy to also provide that service.
Okay.
Do you
But I
want
don't know whether it's in the
parade?
what?
A parade with balloons, everything.
sounds good.
So Lily, you've been through a lot with your sister.
Yeah.
I don't know that everybody knows what's been happening with your sister. I don't know if this is appropriate, if you want to share that, but it's quite an amazing journey. And I
Yeah.
don't want to say it in the sound bite, so if that's something you want to share with us.
Sure. Well, my sister had a stroke in February of this year, February 15th. And so I guess it's kind of like, if you don't know who she was, it may not really have that much impact, but she's big. She's really big in lots of ways, beautiful ways and unbeautiful ways. I mean, she's big. And she's been a big part of our family and the glue of our family. And she's just like, you can't imagine that anything could bring her down, kind of thing. She's a very beautiful woman. I'm very inspired by her in many ways. And she was such a trooper. I mean, she just to watch her come through this was amazing. Really amazing. And she's down to just a little kind of weakness in her hand, and all of her doctors and her caretakers are like, this is phenomenal. We've never seen anything like this, kind of thing. So grateful, so blessed, really so blessed. And it was tough for everyone, of course. And now she had to go through a series of different places she has had to live, and she's been waiting to get her new home completed. And so now that's happened, and she's moved into her new home, and that's really amazing. This is something she has wanted her whole life. And I am in deep respect for my nephew and niece, really supporting her in getting this, where she has her own home. She's moving into her own home for the first time at the age of 83. Which, but I hear her, I just got off the phone with her before. And in fact, I said, sis, I have to go now, because I said I would be on this call, but it's just hard, because it's like I'm getting to know her in a different way. And that's kind of really painful sometimes. But it's weird, because it's also very joyful, because I have her we have her still. And she still is that strength, But there's so much about her that's different. So it's kind of like getting to know another person, but I still have the same amount of respect and honor and great love for her. But I have a lot of consideration, because there's some things with her home now that aren't right. And she gets easily disturbed about things, and I could hear her going to that place, and I don't know really quite how to minimize it, but I try to just listen. But there's such a concern now, because this week she had this an appointment with her doctor, and they want to do an MRI, and she's like, oh no way, I can't go through that procedure. She's, you know, and so her doctor's like, well, it's your choice, it's your choice. She said, because they want to see what's happening, and if there's any kind of bleeding through. And she said, no, I'm just going to take my chances with this. And it's like, oh, just to hear her say that, it's like, I just feel like very twisted inside, it's like, to say that I'm just going to take my choices, I'm just going to, take it as it comes. I'm not going through that procedure. They have to go up through the femoral artery, and she's going through this whole thing. And it's like, I would never do that. So I have to respect that, But on the other hand, it's like, I feel, there's, it's so fragile, but, then again, isn't it all, it's like, it's that kind of thing, it's like.
Lily, can I share a little bit of the backstory of Antoinette as I saw it?
Sure.
And let me make sure I have this right. So Antoinette is a acupuncturist that went back to school at what age?
Oh, I don't know.
63, 65?
Maybe 65, 66, like that, yeah.
And became a practicing acupuncturist.
Right.
And Antoinette went from, so Antoinette is a Capricorn, so I could really relate to her. So she has this gypsy side to her. I want to live here, but I want to live there, but maybe I want to live here. And finally she moves close to her daughter, and then the house catches on fire. And it was her son-in-law, but not really son-in-law by marriage, but son-in-law, who actually smelt the fire and got everybody out of the house. She lost everything. She lost everything at what age, Lily?
Sorry?
How old was Antoinette?
81.
When the fire? Oh yeah, that was just like
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Lost everything. And then the insurance.
Yeah, that was her first house. I was mistaken. She had came back from Arizona, bought that house, moved in, and within a few months, there was a fire in the wood burning stove that was being overtaxed because there was no electricity. She lives up in the Pocono Mountains for like a very long time, and everyone was in her house. So they were using the wood burning stove for everything, and I think it just, anyway, I'm sorry.
But the house wasn't exactly what she wanted, right? So the house burns down. This is my Cliff Note version. The house burns down, and the insurance company comes in and says, okay, we'll rebuild exactly what you want. And she gets the house that she wants. Mudroom, the kitchen, right? Now she's in her 80s, right? Early 80s. Gets the house that she wants, takes a long time, all the paperwork, nightmare, and then she has a stroke. So this is the cat of nine lives, right? I mean, it's just mind-boggling what she's able to go through and rise up from the ashes of to move forward.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I'm hearing what Lily's saying, and what's coming up for me is when you love someone as much as Lily loves her sister, right? To hear her sister say, like, I have my own idea about how this is going to be, and that may not be how I would myself would want it. That's so hard to allow, to respect that other person, to give them their dignity, to allow them to have their experience as they want it to be, but not be able to be in control and to like have what I would need. I find that would be so difficult.
Yeah, it's like this sort of, I feel this edginess inside, like a lot of the time, that I try to manage, of course, but it's I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it's just anxiety. I'm sure everyone's felt it. It's like, it just, I don't know. It just seems like there's so much right now is just like right on the edge, you know. I mean, I'm not even just talking about our lives where, you know, what's happening in my life or how I feel, but it's like, it seems to be just the way of the time right now that we're all just balancing on this like pinpoint, you know. It's like, oh, and that's so I feel a lot of anxiety, you know, around life in general here right now on the planet. Mm.
I feel that too. I feel like a general anxiety. You know, every time I hear the news or open the newspaper, you know, I want to be informed, and you know, yet there's just so much that's so awful that's going on. So I hear that and I share that.
Who else would like to share where you are and what's going on with you?
Going on, Lisa?
Me?
Did you share? And I got.
Well, I talked about the fundraiser, and the fact that that's behind me is huge, because finally I can let go of some of that anxiety that I've been feeling. You know, just thinking about what Joan and Lily said, you know, I do have that anxiety myself about what's going on in the world and in our country. And even small decisions that I hear about, you know, changing the parking rules in New York City, you know, and that's going to affect me in certain ways when I go visit my my daughter Allison and my granddaughter. And you know, I realize there's this disconnect, or you know, not wanting to live in that space because it's uncomfortable. And so, you know, I do a lot of busy work and tasks. I mean, things that I do for, you know, my business or for Sharp Again or my family or whatever. But it's always there, you know, kind of in the background as an undercurrent. And what I was thinking the other day is, you know, I've always been a very optimistic, very positive person. And I feel like that's somehow changed a little bit in the last couple of years. I just feel like there's been a shift there where I'm not as positive as I used to be. It doesn't feel temporary. Like, I'd like to believe it's not temporary. It feels like my foundation has sort of shifted a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's like I always was a glass half full, and just not quite feeling the same way. And yeah, you know, some of it I attribute to just getting older and maybe wiser, but some of it is, I think, just, you know, the world that we're in right now is just so troubling, although maybe it's not any worse than it usually is, but it feels like it is. It feels like it's not good.
So you know, I can say my world is okay. It's fine. I'm very fortunate. I feel very grateful for a lot of my family and my friends and what I have in my life. But something feels very different.
Mm.
And maybe it'll shift back. I mean, I'm not ruling out that possibility.
Mm.
and I keep thinking maybe it will help if I do some, more spiritual work. And, I've gotten back into my yoga practice, which has felt good. And so it might shift again, but right now, that's sort of how it's been. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the summer. And I can echo what Mela said. I love this time of year, and especially if I can be up here in Connecticut, it's wonderful. And just being near the water and just experiencing that storm the other night was so thrilling. Actually, watching it come in over the water and just loving the thunder and the lightning and the rain and being inside. I just love a good storm. So just trying to appreciate the everyday, but I feel like I can do that, but I always know the rest of the world is out there, and I worry about my grandkids a lot, and kind of the world they're in, and how that's changed in our generation, and how it's going to continue to change in a way that's not very positive. And I'm having recently I just ordered a test for toxicity and glyphosates to see what's in my system, just to know kind of what I need to be worried about, because I know I've got heavy metals, and I know a lot of these toxins are related to these neurological diseases, ALS and MS and dementia and many other things. So and it's a lot more pervasive than we think. Even those of us who think we eat well and who take care of ourselves and exercise and do all those things. So I'm on that level too. I'm kind of concerned about living well longer, not necessarily living longer, but living well longer.
Yeah.
So I guess that pretty much captures it in a nutshell where I am. Thank you for asking.
So I'm sitting here and I'm a little undecided about whether to go into some of the work that I spend my time doing, because it's so far out of the box that there are just so many people that I can talk to about it, and I tend to choose carefully because I don't want anybody to think I'm fucking nuts. So, but it relates to what's going on in the world, and it actually it gives me a lot of hope. And I think the hope that I have is not misplaced. I spend about 25 or 30 hours a week on this work, and I'm not the practitioner. I'm a client of the practitioner, and but I've been a witness to that for the last 12 or 13 years. And it has to do with the kinds of, like we've seen the rise of the strong men in the world, the dictators, the tyrannical thing. We've seen a lot of things that I believe are directly correlated to the kinds of energies and and it's a little late to start into any detail on this, but there are connections between this physical world and the supernatural that are quite discordant, and there's a discipline, a practice that this gal that I work with has developed, or has learned is really a better term, to help detach those connections between the physical world and the supernatural world that are discordant. And it's quite dramatic. And there's lots of story, which I'm not going to start into tonight. But the basic idea is that the supernatural world has gotten tangled in the physical world. And as long as that tangling persists, the unconscious drives of the supernatural will keep being manifested here. And a lot of what we see is that. But what it looks like is that the amount of time between now and what is that?
It's a phone.
Oh,
that's
okay.
ringing.
So what it looks like is, instead of taking generations to accomplish, this separation looks like it could be like almost any moment.
Yeah.
And it's not going to really manifest as we're separate, now we're home free. It's not going to happen gradually, but when the last of the supernatural is out of the physical world, then there will be one of those changes, like mid-sentence. There will be a different consciousness available to the physical world.
So I'd like to speak to that, and I'd like to have a bigger conversation with you at another time, Jackie, because this is speaking to some things that I've been thinking about. So last night I had a dream about my sister. No, my sister came to me in my dream. That's probably the better way of saying, and I couldn't hold on to what she was telling me. I said, come on, you know, like, I'm just trying to grasp it. I know it was very profound, but I couldn't grasp it. So I was trying too hard, and I know that this will become more clear. And I think that the membrane of, you know, the physical to the spiritual has been lifted, and she's there to tell me something. So I just wanted to share that. I also wanted to mention that I'm not really worried about our life and our world. This is a cycle, and it's an ugly cycle. And I remember an ugly cycle when I was working on Wall Street, when it was all about the mighty dollar, and the Republicans were in charge, and it was just ugly. And I had to make a mandatory contribution to PACs in Ohio. And it was like, you know, I didn't know what any of that stuff was, but it's a cycle. So when I think about Andrew and his anger, I'm shifting my anger towards my son. It's like, good, you take that baton and you run with it, and you try to do whatever you can do to change and awaken. But I don't want to hang on to anger and depression, and because it's so easy to do, because Trump is, I mean, we could say, how did we get here? But I want to hang on to Ginsburg. I want to hold on to the fact that she's like trying to hold steady in the Supreme Court as much as she can. I just want to look at the positive stuff. So that's where I am. So I just want to share one thing, that my son is going to Abu Dhabi for a 2-month job to create a mural there. And I'm thinking about going there, because it's like, I will never go there ever again, because why would I go to Abu Dhabi? I don't even know where it is, to tell you the truth. And I did a little Google search. But I think about Aaron, and I think about where I have been brought to life because of Aaron. And it's like what we have and what we bring to each other. And if we dare to take that invitation and say, I'll do it. So that's sort of where I am right now as far as like looking at the positive invitations and saying, I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Can I, Irma, are you complete? Because there's a couple people, it's already well over an hour, and there's a couple people who haven't spoken yet. We haven't heard from Marilena or Doreen. Is anyone, and Erin, I don't think you've said anything. So does anyone want to say anything? Take the floor, please.
Well, I'm just drinking you all in. So I've been enjoying just being in your wonderful energy and just hearing from all of you about things. Of course, we don't need to say much because we're all on that same wavelength. I will say the moment, Jackie, you said the spiritual, did you say spiritual? Supernatural will entangle with the physical. My television came on. I'm nowhere near the TV remote. It just came on.
That is not an uncommon occurrence with this stuff.
It's not an uncommon occurrence for me, but it was just perfect that you said it at the moment because I've been, dabbling a lot in that. This is my summer reading and my summer indulgence while I'm working because I'm, working hard at revising exam prep courses and oh my God, so much work. But this is my fun stuff. It's just sort of dabbling in all of that study. And I'm so lucky I'm going to get to go to London the end of September.
Wow, good for you.
I was invited to speak at the UK Health Coaching Conference. I'm about that.
Yay.
I'm more excited because I get to go to Stonehenge.
Oh, no.
And go to, and the woman who is one of our quantum coaches who's involved with that organization arranged a private tour. So I am so excited about that. Forget the conference.
Nice.
That's even better.
Congrats.
So I've been having a lot of fun, sort of, Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, and all that, diving into all of that, remembering how much fun I had with that when I was younger. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then I'm going to go to Italy after that to see my aunt who's 90 something. And I'm going to say goodbye.
Oh.
Because I don't think I'll see her again. She's not well. It's my father's sister, our only aunt on that level. And I know she's hanging on. I mean, I just found out the other day she's really living because her pacemaker's keeping her alive. And that's probably it, And I'm said, I'm coming. And she's like, I'm waiting. So hopefully we'll see each other. And then I have another cousin who's about my age in Rome who has a brain tumor. And I'm going to go see him. And I'm like, this is not the trip I was planning, but it's the trip I need to make, And after that, I really feel called. I mean, called like I can't tell you. I need to go to Assisi. So I'm going there afterwards for a few days for a retreat for myself.
Wow.
And then I'll come back. And I'll be in the New York, Connecticut area in October. So I hope to see some of you. Yeah. I'm going to be speaking at Tracy Harrison's conference the end of October. So I'm just going to stay up for the month. And the other thing that's come for me is come up to me because I'm having these conversations. Even this morning, I said to myself on my morning walk here in the jungle, Matt, how long am I going to live? And I really am very present to the bucket list things I want to do and where I want to go, and really being intentional and thinking about my life, my work in the next several years here. Like, what's it going to look like? How's it going to change to create the space for what else I really want to do? So I'm having all these same thoughts that we're all having. And I really want to get intentional about that. And I really know that on the day I leave this planet, what will matter to me most is the time we've spent together, the time I've spent with the people that I love, all of you, the few family members I have left, even the ones who've gone on. But you know what I mean? And that I've seen and experienced what I really want to in life. And I just feel like that's this morning I was just saying these same words. I'm just like hearing my words back to me, and we didn't even talk this morning, but we did. And what I heard was, so what's my work going to look like? Well, it's all spiritual really from here on out, isn't it? That's what I said to myself this morning, or what came through me. So to what you were saying, I think, Lisa, yeah, it's all spiritual from this point out. It really is. I mean, all of it. So that's where I am today. And I'm so delighted when this popped up on my calendar today. I was like, oh, yay. I get to be with my goddesses today. It's so good. So good. Thank you all. It's just such a gift. This is one of the biggest blessings in my life. Can't say thank you enough.
Amen.
Amen.
I feel the same.
Yay.
Which begs the question,
When are we going to do it again?
Wait, but we have others. We have Doreen, we have Vicky, we have
Right.
Erin.
right? I'm not saying we should end now, but I'm just saying it just begs the question.
How about like November, early December?
If we can wait that long.
That's a
Okay.
long time.
Uh,
That's a really long time. How long has it been since we got together?
May.
May,
May, and
July,
it's
July, August,
the end of July.
June, July,
Quarterly.
September,
May, June.
That's 2.5 months.
October.
So it'd be the end of September.
Before we go,
Somewhere in
can
October.
we talk about others? Can we connect with Doreen? What's going
Yeah.
on, Doreen and Vicky?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
can't see you.
I know. The reason I took myself off video, well, there's two reasons. I cannot I took myself off to go take care of something, and when I came back on, I can't hear you very well. So I have to have the phone right up to my ear.
Okay.
So I thought that would be a weird video.
Okay.
And then the reason I took myself away, I was thinking about how odd and interesting. I mean, I just think this conversation is so priceless, and I'm so thrilled and grateful for everybody and being willing to participate in it. And on like a not a silly note, but it's still disconcerting for me. I'm at my lake house this weekend with family, having a wonderful time. They're leaving different, and I thought I wouldn't be able to be on the call. I had extra company, and they left early, and it was just perfect. I was thrilled to get on. But I came up Thursday night and found a bat in the house. So I didn't like it, but I thought, oh, it's happened another time over the years, and, I'll get him out. And then Friday came, and there were 5 bats in the house. And I was starting to freak out. And so my son-in-law came and my grandson, and don't worry, Nan, we got it. We're going to catch him and get him out of the house. So today is Sunday. By the time all was said and done, we identified 12.
Oh, wow.
And I have a call in to somebody who is coming tomorrow morning. And so that's while I was on the call, like, sundown happened. And so here it was, he's now flying around, and I thought, let me see if I can get him out. And my other daughter's still here. So we managed to get him out, and I'm back on the call. So
Get a bat out of your house.
it's not fun or easy.
Doreen, you left the windows open, right? That didn't work.
Right. So what happened is, in the dining room, we left the doors open, and he or she was flying around the dining room, and finally went out the door. You try to guide them out. They don't really take to that.
They're blind,
But they
Right. It's
wanna
like
go out. I mean, that's what they do at night. So
say that again, Jackie.
they want to go out at
You
night.
would hope. I was hoping.
So-
I was so hoping.
You don't have enough.
So anyway,
space indoors.
I'm eager for this guy to come and see if he can, because leaving the windows or doors open, like, how did they even get in? So I don't want any more coming in.
Right.
I thought, so that's my dilemma. And like I texted Vicky because I was supposed to talk with her tomorrow, and I said, "Oh, I have to change the call because I have the bat expert coming."
Batman.
And Batman's coming, and and you know, I am like crazy, and I vacillate between thinking, "Oh, nature's wonderful," and then feeling so creeped out I can barely stand myself. And then Vicky says, "What a fascinating life you have." You know, I mean, this is the beauty and the gift you are for me, you guys. It's like, you know,
Doreen,
yes.
I just looked up animal totem for the bat. You are being asked to grow and become your own future. Focus on moving forward and stay balanced in the present.
Whoa.
Oh, thank you. A bit of an assignment. Okay. So I agreed with, you know, I was listening to Lisa, and I don't find myself thinking about like how awful it is that the things are happening in the world. I feel like I'm kind of in a very smaller circle. But when I do think about it, I say, well, what will I do about it? I don't feel I have all that much other than when we talk about the spiritual level, you know, like positive thinking and prayer and however we, you know, address it. And the little choices we make every day that hopefully add up to something. But and then back to Marilena's and Lisa's, it just feels like the best place to be is in the spiritual realm. So I will focus on that and try to be present and ever grateful for all of you. Thank you.
We're grateful for you, Doreen.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. And I'm really on the same page. I'm, you know, reading books about end of life and working with people who are dying. And so hopefully it's so great to have this resource, so much rich information to share with each other.
Doreen, I want to follow up with you about that. There's a conference for an organization I belong to that's not far from you coming up in August. Maybe it's something you want to go to. I thought of you. I thought I was able to go, but you might want to go.
Okay, sure. Let me know.
And it's for an organization that studies near-death experiences, near-death studies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, love it. Thank you.
Oh dear.
Would you share that with me as well, Marilena?
Oh yeah, it's in King of Prussia.
The one in King of Prussia you had mentioned, yeah.
It's in the hood.
I don't want to go to that. Just saying.
Erin, I have to say for Erin, the young woman, years ago I came across a book called A Year to Live. And I thought, what a great idea. This guy had been working with hospice and he wanted to write a book so people could prepare themselves and avoid so many of the things he was facing with people, their frustration, their upset. So I tried to get a book club going to do this year together and see how it would go. And I could not make it happen because people thought, no, I don't want to go near that one. No. So it's just not the right time, you know. And especially the younger people would say, well, if I even talk about that, won't I draw it to me, you know? And I thought, I guess that's a thought, but now I'm working it the other way. It's like, it's coming, it's here. I want to be ready.
Well, Doreen, you said to me when you were facing all your health issues, remember you and I had a conversation and something you said to me stuck with me like so in my face. Still is. You said, I was living my life like I didn't have an expiration date. And having you say that was like, I better get my ass in gear, you know? I have turned a corner now that I can say I'm ready to like let go of so much more stuff. You'll be happy to hear that, Mila, because I'm like, I'm not going to get back some things that I thought I was going to have. I'm already into the next phase, and I'm like so happy to just live very simply and just stay focused on very simple things and not have a burden of things, or unfinished business. That's so important. And I would say, with Erin, what you were saying before, I don't know if many of you know this, but I do a lot in this whole realm. And I did my master's on near-death experiences and interviewed.
Masters on near-death experience?
My thesis was on near-death experience.
Holy crow.
Hang out with a lot of people who have physically died and come back. It changes your perspective on this whole transition. It does. It certainly has theirs for the most part. Yeah.
I did my thesis on near-death experiences. Like,
That's pretty cool. How did you get to choose that as a topic?
Since I was a very young person, I was very into that whole subject. And Raymond Moody in the 70s came out with the first book about, life after life.
Right.
I have always been drawn to that. And it's always been a gift in our family of having sort of a little bit of second sight kind of thing going on, so I've always been drawn to it. And I have over the years pretty much devoured anything that anybody's written along those terms. So it's fascinating, but it does give you a very different perspective.
My grandmother was interviewed by Raymond Moody. And one of her stories is in that book. This is such a small world.
Oh, isn't that amazing? There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here Doreen is working with people, right? Close to passing. And that's like it's a whole interesting journey. It's like a most sacred journey to walk with somebody after that.
Totally sacred.
Yeah.
So I went used car shopping yesterday.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
It's not
That's
sacred.
life after death.
Sacred.
Death after
It's
life.
not sacred.
Did you get something?
Yeah. Got a
What did you
car.
get?
What'd you get?
A 2013 Nissan Pathfinder.
All right. With
Nice.
the
Nice name.
spare tire on the inside or on the outside?
The what tire?
Spare tire.
Spare tire.
Of the
It's
spare.
actually like below the back. So you have to like
That's good.
turn something inside and it drops.
Yep.
down.
Erin, you of course would pick a car with the name Pathfinder.
Oh,
That's perfect for a guy.
Well, we looked at the Explorer and we looked at the Pathfinder and we looked at the Chevy something. I can't remember. They're all vehicles with a third row seat for our giant growing boys.
Aw.
Yeah, need that.
Yes. And terrible gas mileage to destroy our planet.
Mhm.
What's happening with your year off? Are you doing that still?
We are continuing to live parallel lives where we continue as normal and we continue with this path where it's happening, that we go around the world, and we will make our decision in January.
Wow. More power to you.
So
We just want to know the itinerary so we can come pop in and out.
There
Exactly.
you go. There you go.
I'll meet her in China.
once it's happening, then we're going to be in oh holy shit mode, and then reaching out to everybody who knows, like everyone's first, second, and 3 degree separations. We're like, we need a place to stay, we need a vehicle, we need a whatever,
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
So
We,
I want
we did meet, we met a couple. They have 2 kids. They returned from their year around the world in August, and they made it happen. And so that they were the first family we've met who've done what we envisioned doing. And they're not diplomat family. They're not a homeschooler turns world schooler. They were just like a normal crazy family like us. And that was really informative and propelled us forward to realize like we can actually make this happen.
Yay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Once in a lifetime experience.
Yes, for sure. And you know, we have a lot of reality checks when like a month like this that we sit down and do finances, and we're like, how can we make, you know, our life work financially the next 6 months? We're like, how the hell could we leave and go around the world? But we have this foundational innate trust that if it's going to happen, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And we've really let go of that decision and are playing it forward, but also not attached.
Great.
Awesome.
So cool. So cool.
It's cool, but we'll see what
I know.
happens. You all know me. I'm a dreamer. I make things happen.
You make it.
Sure.
So Vicky, are you going to chime in?
Very briefly, my fever is rising again as we sit here. So I don't want to go into why I got sick, but briefly, I probably pushed myself way too hard this week and didn't use a lot of the tools I know that would keep me from getting sick. I didn't think about it until I felt sick. So I just have to remember that. And so other than that, I'm looking forward to going to Sicily in October with Lily.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh,
Vicky, can you share anything that you did this week? Like how many people you fed?
Well, fed a couple hundred people, and
And you were on TV.
I was on TV. So if anybody wants to see it, I can send them the link.
We all want to see it.
Of course.
All of us.
It
All
was,
of us.
it was a very
Everybody.
brief interview. They cut most of mine out, but I did get a sentence or two in. And it was just a really busy week. A lot of cooking in the kitchen, a lot of schlepping, and
How many people did you feed this week?
I said a couple hundred. You know.
Wow.
So, but they were appreciative and happy, and so it's important.
you rock, Vicky.
I don't know. And then we cooked today and yesterday and today as well. So
Now it's time to feed yourself and rest.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So yeah, this week is not as bad, so I will recover so I can do it again.
Wow.
And that's it for me. So anyone have any closing remarks before we
I do.
go ahead?
If you're interested in experimenting with the kind of the mental emotional approach that works best to promote the separation of the physical from the supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
most of us have been glass half full people. What's even more powerful is to be people who say there's water in the glass.
Hmm.
Nice.
Good.
So because judging for good or ill
Yeah.
doesn't matter, you know, saying it's wonderful is just as much of a judgment as saying it's terrible. So if you can cultivate neutrality, like heart-centered neutrality, that's kind of the gold standard. And I can tell you, having been working on it for the last 13 years, that there's lots to do for some of us.
There's water in the glass. I like that.
Quite a challenge. Yeah. Sounds like a worthwhile one, too.
What a great call. Thank
I
you.
love you all.
Yeah. I
I
love
Mhm.
you.
So much.
So I recorded it. We'll send it out for those who couldn't be here. If anyone wants to relive their moments here.
Now, so the question
If you
is,
want another one, you know, we can set one up. Just, you know, either I can arbitrarily pick a date, or you can let me know.
Just
Surprise
pick a date.
us.
Pick a date.
What's that?
Yep.
Pick a
Pick a
date.
Surprise you?
Pick a date.
Pick a date. So 2 months would be the end of September.
Correct.
Maybe mid-October
Well, it has to be before I leave on the 14th.
of October.
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
So we'll do it before then.
How about the
Yeah.
13th? How about the 13th, October 13th? Sunday.
No, that's not.
No,
the
no,
day
no.
Before.
Too close.
Not right
Come
before
on.
she leaves.
Okay. Sorry.
You think I'm going to be packed and ready and not anxious and
Okay,
having
October
my
6th.
life
October
away?
October 6th.
Why? You like that date?
Yeah, it's a date.
I think that sounds good.
October 6th. October 6th.
I'll be probably in Italy then. I'll call in if I can.
Okay.
All right, or I'll see you at the airport. We'll be passing.
Thanks for
Take care,
coordinating this.
everyone. Love you.
Yes, thank you very much.
See you all.
Love you all.
Love you
Well.
all. Night.
Right.
Absolutely wonderful.
Adios.
Whoops.